Hello. Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hey.
So you got a name for this podcast?
Not Impossible Podcast.
Oh, that's okay.
So it took me a long time to come up with that.
Yeah. Well,
I talked to you about it, and you helped me come up with that. So
I try, man.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we don't really have a structure on this podcast. It's just no editing, just to talk about stuff. So we can talk about whatever you want to.
Phone usage. When you're
Did you
doing
say
a
bone?
podcast.
Phone
usage.
Bone
when
usage.
you're doing a podcast, whether or not you should, be on your phone.
I just switched it to vibrate. So.
Oh, that's what you're doing, right? I'm switching it to vibrate.
Nice to see you.
It's been too long.
Heck yeah.
Okay, let's be real now. Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay.
No. God, you and your condenser microphone. That's good. You sound deep.
I am deep. Well, so far in the podcast has been very shallow.
I wanted to say you're deep in the closet because...
Well, I do have it set up in a very small area where I do my audio recording, and I put towels and other audio absorbing things on the wall.
I don't hear any echoes or reverb. You sound good.
That's the point. I'm trying to go
those
echoless.
Shelves above your head are precarious looking. They look tilted from the way the camera's looking at them.
Oh, they're tilted, yeah.
Oh. All right.
They're tilted. Yeah, I think it's more fun to live in like the danger that all your retro game systems will fall on your head.
Are those all old game systems?
A lot of it is. I got some shoes and a lot of games that I just don't have out, like Wii and GameCube. I don't have on a shelf.
So can we talk about your original YouTube setup, right? Because you had it at your house in was it the master closet?
Yeah. These are insider things, man. Yeah, it was in the closet of the master bedroom was a walk-in closet. And there was a box window right outside of that closet, above the bathroom, like some big windows. So it had a lot of natural light. It just
you had a window into your closet?
No, so the closet right outside, there were some sinks and a mirror, and right above that, there was a big open kind of skylight.
Gotcha.
So no one could see in. It was a 2-story. But all that light coming in, it provided a really good light for filming. I didn't have any kind of light set up at the time, so that had to suffice.
Did you still keep a bunch of clothes in the closet?
Yeah, actually there were 2 closets in that master bedroom. So one was for my ex's stuff, and the other was for mine.
Okay.
And she graciously let me use the walk-in closet so that I could set this up for...
See, that's what I was wondering, if it was a big deal.
If she got mad or something?
Like using a whole closet for game stuff, That's an easy thing that a significant other can get mad about.
Well, I mean, considering most people had a whole room dedicated to this, I think that's a small request.
The room I'm sitting in right now was my ex's closet. Like the entire room was all the way around with like shoe racks and those like stand up like curtains, curtains. But the big I don't know how to say it. In Devil Wears Prada, when they're like trying on all the clothes and they got what's that called, with the big pole and then they have all the hangers hanging off of it. It's like the most basic thing and I can't think of it.
A pole.
And I'm glad I'm like, that part in Devil Wears Prada?
I know. I'm thinking, dang. Don't you like weld and do all sorts of manly
I do weld,
stuff,
but then
CrossFit. I also know about Devil Wears Prada.
That's private information too. We're just busting each other out.
What?
CrossFit.
That's a private thing?
Yeah, that's not. I don't post that. It's never been on social media. So this is insider stuff right now.
You should be proud of your body.
You just told everyone that I'm a DB. But it's all right.
Well, do you know what that stands for? Because you don't know what that closet thing is.
What? Anyway, the clothes racks. That's what I was trying to say. That's really complicated. And
is that the phrase? Clothes rack?
Yeah.
Holy moly. That's not a term. I mean, it's just a descriptor.
So yeah, now that I live alone, this is a hobby room. I have like scuba stuff, drone stuff, Cisco networking stuff, a tennis racket, and it's going pretty well. I got the little like noise baffles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my noise baffles are towels.
I see them next to your face.
Yeah. It's also when I get hot in here.
That's actually really nice.
But they have to be white so that they can reflect light if I ever want to, film in this room.
So let's talk about filming since you're doing YouTube again and that Zelda video. Man, Link to the Past is like you kind of put that up there, and I'm already saying that's like the best Link to the Past along with the best Metroid are from you. So that's kind of amazing.
Dude,
it is.
Thank you. Well, I mean, these games are some of my favorite games ever, so I just didn't want to mess around. I feel like the people that created them poured all kinds of love into making them, and I just wanted to do something that, for me personally, I tried to. I mean, hopefully I did what I set out to do, but I just wanted the videos to match the kind of love they put into it. I'm not saying it's great like that. I'm just saying that I put as much love as I have to give into it. I spent a lot of time editing that, and so
well, you can tell.
That.
I mean, I was watching it from that standpoint, just kind of not picking it apart, but I noticed things, like pay attention to all the little details, editing details, your transitions. I didn't find a single like thing that was like, oh, that could have been a little better.
Oh,
Not that I was trying to, but every video I've ever done, I've noticed like, oh crap, I could have done that differently after I released it and watched it.
I have tons. Some of them are small things, but yeah, I have tons.
Can you point one out in that or no?
They're simple things, but I wish when, like in the transitions, when the trees close, I have the image behind it fade so it looks like the trees are casting shadow. When they open, I forgot to do that.
Dude, re-upload it.
I want the shadow as it opens to go from darker to lighter, and it doesn't. So yeah, it's a stupid little thing. But I also wish when I talk about some of the NES games that I had put a little title at the bottom, like Excite Bike, Pro Wrestling. It's simple little things like that.
Re-upload it as the director's cut.
And there were other things that I cut out that I kind of wish I had left in just so that it would have been completely comprehensive. Like I had stuff in there about how it was originally called Triforce of the Gods.
Yeah, that's
took that out.
Something I didn't know about at all. It's pretty sweet.
Well, it was considered too religious of a title, and so Nintendo pulled it, renamed it A Link to the Past. But in other places in the world, that's what it's called. That's what it's known as, Triforce of the Gods.
So when was Link to the Past released?
April 13th, 1992.
92.
Yeah, I was trying to actually, I missed it by 1 week. I wanted to release it on the anniversary, but I just couldn't finish it in time.
So for us, we had like Road Riot, 4-wheel drive, and we had Mario, Super Mario World, and maybe 2 other games, but we didn't have any money to get a lot of games for Super Nintendo. And I remember this had to have been like 97 is when I played Link to the Past for the first time. So, and that was through a friend of mine, Marcus. He just like had it and we borrowed it. And I remember playing through and I was like, dude, this is the, like you said in your video, like the rain when you go inside the castle. I was like, this is awesome. And it's kind of cool. I hope we keep having those as we like go further on into the high-tech gaming and stuff looking really good, that you have those moments of, whoa, that's insane. Like virtual reality was the last one I had.
True. Well, I mean, I think that now it's developers are so paying so much attention to detail that we just take it for granted. Like you think about just the background details. When I think about Fallout, the Fallout series, areas you will, like many people will never explore, and they just have, they set it up as if someone was living there, but you have this kind of sense of who that person even was from the items that you find in the area. That kind of detail always blows me away, to think of the size of that game and that someone cared enough to put those little details. I still get blown away by things like that.
Yeah, it's cool to appreciate it because it's pretty easy to get complacent because we're so spoiled as gamers, right?
Oh yeah.
People say all the time now, well, there's too many games to keep up with and play that are good. And I completely agree with that. So it's kind of like you keep elevating your standards because your time's so precious, right? For me anyway, like when I play a game, I can quickly just get super bored and be like, well, I'm not going to spend time on this because it doesn't hook me back when you're a teenager or a grade schooler and you have tons of time, right?
Yep. So you liked it then back then?
Yeah, it was cool.
Always...
Like most of my game time was if I was like homesick from school.
Oh wow.
I remember in high school I was homesick and my brother had a Nintendo 64 and I played Rogue Squadron. I played a crap load of that and I played a crap load of what the heck is the 64? I'm drawing a blank. I can't think well tonight because I didn't eat.
What
Nintendo 64 Zelda?
I mean,
I can't remember.
Okay,
it right
Ocarina
now.
of Time.
Ocarina of Time. Thank you. Oh my god.
GoldenEye? Were you a GoldenEye kid?
GoldenEye. I love GoldenEye. But yeah, I probably should have eaten something because I'm kind of spacing out right now. I can't recall clothes racks.
Or Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Well, it is kind of obscure. I mean.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild I just saw an article that it is now the best-selling Zelda game of all time.
I don't agree with that. I mean,
that is the best-selling? Like, I mean, you don't have to agree.
No.
It's the best game.
I reject that reality.
Okay.
That's not
Well, then
me.
what is the best-selling?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know what it's called.
I'm just getting grumpy and old and senile.
Dude, I know, but it's not impossible for you to settle down.
You know what is impossible? Losing your memories. Because it's happening.
Yes.
Wait, isn't impossible. I said is. See, I can't even do that. I can't even rip on myself properly.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
You know what's kind of funny, though, is like I was looking at the comments on that new video, and in the video I mentioned going to a friend's house, and that was the first time I ever played it. Well, that friend saw the video and commented, and I haven't talked to him in years.
Out of nowhere?
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, Chris, it's Jason." And I'm like, "What? What the heck?" And he just like went on to talk about how he misses those times playing those games. It's just so trippy. You know, of all videos, like I don't even know how he would have found it or heard about it. I haven't talked to him. I don't think I've talked to him since I started YouTube. So I don't know if he ever knew I did any YouTube.
He's like the Libyan nationalist in Back to the Future. They found Doc. He doesn't know how, but they found him.
Right. Or maybe he just actually likes games too.
Oh, or
more likely that he would be more likely to search something like that.
Oh my God.
What are you up to? Are you doing anything YouTube wise?
You know, I've been the last couple weekends have been busy. I picked up 2 arcade machines.
What?
Which kind of like I
did you film it?
Yes, I did.
Oh wow.
And 4K 60 frames, so that should be out 2020 according to the
but
trends.
The whole thing is going to be slow motion.
All of it. But yeah, so I'm not actively looking for games because my basement is full. Plus, I have the project games in my arcade right now. I gotta drop my level a little bit here.
Yeah, you do.
'Cause I'm clipping.
Dude, drop your level.
But I just
is that like slang? I don't know what that means.
I just found some deals that I couldn't pass up. Really. So.
And you didn't.
And I didn't because they're games that I would make an exception for. And I'll say what they are. That's fine. That's no spoilers.
Uh-oh, spoiler alert.
Oh, man, insider info. So, Flux Capacitor Arcade, Greg, he's hooked me up with so many games, man. He's such a cool dude. He comes across them all the time, and he kind of just shares the love with other collectors. And he's gotten me my Robotron, right? He's gotten me my second Robotron. He's gotten me
your third Robotron.
Outrun,
I see a trend.
Outrun machine. He's gotten me my second Outrun machine. He's gotten Granny and the Gators.
Well, what did he get this
Baby
time?
Pac-Man. So he calls me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm driving right now to go pick up a game. I already have one at my house, and I already have one at my lake house. So I don't know why I'm picking it up. It was just too good of a deal to pass up, and I'll pass on the deal to you if you want it." So he took his time to drive an hour, and he called me on the way. He was just going to pick it up and just have a good deal and pass it along, just because he likes the thrill of the hunt kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Found a good deal, going to get it. So he goes and gets it, and then I'm like, absolutely, man, crazy deal. He just passes it on to me directly. I pay him extra for gas. I drive 45 minutes to meet him at a gas station. I pull up next to him. He's pumping gas. I pull at the pump next to him, pump my gas. We film the whole thing in the gas station lane, and he opens the back, and it's a Tempest machine. You know Tempest? Well,
Yes.
It's a vector graphics game.
Yes.
And it's got the rotary
Is that the
knob.
one with the, like, it swirlies?
Yeah, exactly. You know that one.
Well, I was just trying to use different terms, like your closet analogy. Or whatever it was.
So it's a Tempest, man, and it's such a good deal. Tempest now, I'd say, is an easy $1,000 plus game. So I got it for less than $1,000.
That's a crazy deal. I mean, if it goes for $1,000 and you got it for less than $1,000.
So 1,001, and I got it for $9.99.
You don't mess around.
Yeah.
$9.
But dude, it's in great shape. It worked fine. It has that the monitor, the sought after vector graphics monitor that everyone looks for. Actually, I'm drawing a blank on right now too. I'm not even going to try to say what it is, but it was kind of cool filming the whole thing in the gas station lanes. And I got like a guy pumping his gas, and he looked at us while we're doing it. And I already edited this video, by the way. That night, I edited this video before I went to bed. Isn't that crazy?
Is it
like it takes 2 years?
It's a full Arcade Impossible video episode?
And I edited the whole thing that night.
How long is it?
14
Could
minutes.
So I could watch it in the amount of time it takes to pump my gas.
Yeah.
I want to watch it while I'm pumping gas.
I'll send you the video, and you can draft preview it at the gas station.
That's so meta.
It is pretty meta.
Kind of like how you used to be in a closet and I am in a closet, and your CrossFit closeting is out in the open.
Oh my God. I can't believe you outed me for CrossFit.
I can't believe it was a secret.
I wasn't ready to do that.
Oh my God.
You just did it.
I'm so sorry, man. You know,
I might as well get an Instagram for CrossFit now because of what you did. And start posting my PRs and, oh man, totally rocked that back squat today.
I mean, you talk about it incessantly, so
no,
I thought that everyone knew.
You stop it right now. That's false, fake news. Damn it. This is off the rails now. So that was the arcade pickup with Greg. It's really good. And then we went to Midwest Gaming Classic, filmed that. I already edited most of that video too. And
yeah, I was jealous. I wanted to go.
Dude, I wish you would have
Didn't even invite me.
next year.
Didn't even invite me.
I'm sorry.
I would have flown there.
I wasn't sure I was going to even go.
In a plane.
It was like,
did you get stuff? No, you just looked around.
You don't have any games. Hey, we should do an entire podcast and invite our friends Silly and Che.
That would be great, dude. Yeah, just
I haven't
do it
seen
as
them in a
them.
while.
I know. People still ask me all the time if they're coming back, and I'm like, I don't know. I went to a convention last weekend, and they were like, I don't know. Or I said, I don't know, because I don't know what you think.
One day we can uncover the lost Australia footage. When Che
That's
went
so
to
random.
Australia.
Yeah, when Shay went to Australia, and I was a talking head on a laptop.
Dude, that was great.
I mean, I just saw a picture of it recently. It was pretty weird.
Wait, where'd you see a picture at?
I don't know if it was Twitter or...
Probably Twitter. I think I tweeted it out or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tweeted it at you. So Midwest Gaming Classic was good. I got a really cool Cuphead vinyl for the soundtrack, which was a GameStop exclusive. It was like $15 or something like that.
Do you like the soundtrack? I don't know it.
I love it. It's very old school, I don't know, 30s and 40s music, 40s and 50s music. But you didn't play Cuphead at all?
I don't have an Xbox.
Well, yeah, is that what, Xbox PS4. No, I mean, it's not.
It's
PS4.
not on
Xbox
PS4.
and Steam. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't do Steam either.
Okay. Well, when you get the opportunity, if you're out here or whatever, you have to play it. And it's 2-player co-op. It's it's like a really hard Contra, but with awesome steamboat.
Well, I've watched.
Style. You know the game.
Yeah, I've watched plenty about it. No, it's a beautiful game. Like I
love it.
I hope that it starts a trend. I want to see more
accomplishment.
hand drawn. That is an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. Because it was hard.
Yeah,
You know, I'm a Dark Souls guy and I'm a Cuphead guy. I like hard games.
they need to blend those two. Dark
Get
Head
good,
or
Scrub.
Cup Souls.
Cup Souls.
Dark Head.
Yeah, dark. See, I was trying to think of the other one, and you beat me to it because I'm really slow tonight.
You need to eat.
Dark Head. No, man. Intermittent fasting because I'm a douchebag who does CrossFit. Oh, God. It's a joke with me and my friends because Mike loves to hate on me for doing CrossFit. And I just play on it, and like I made sure to buy a CrossFit shirt just to wear it around him because it bothers him.
I don't get it. Oh, well.
What?
Well, I don't know why people would hate on it, though.
Well, it's not legit. I think deep down they actually care about me as a person and that I can be in good shape.
You think?
Or at least I hope. But
Yeah.
At the same time, my knees are just kind of like snap, crackle, and pop all the time. They just, and I don't know if it was like that before because my memory, but I don't know how bad my
Is
knees
your memory
were
really
before.
going that bad? Or
No.
is it just right now?
Okay, do you remember how your knees sounded 3 years ago?
I don't listen to my knees. That's weird.
Well, I hear mine when
Knees
I'm walking
don't
upstairs.
sound. Knees aren't supposed to sound.
We're gonna do something real quick.
Are you gonna make knee sounds?
I'm gonna make first time I'm gonna make knee sounds. We have to be really quiet though. Let's see if I can do this. It's gonna be loud for a second on the microphone. Okay, I'm gonna tip it down. And I'm gonna do a squat by the microphone. Ready? There's down. Not bad, right?
All I'm.
All right, here's up. What the hell? It's silent.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You can't
That's
remember if your
weird.
knees talk to you anytime. Your knees
So this
don't
is-
talk.
This is some really cool microphone stuff.
Right.
See
Sure.
how
You got
awesome my
noise
knees
canceling
sounded?
knee noise canceling microphone. Yeah.
Anyway, they
I'm
crack
just-
all the time.
all
don't
I
know
heard
why
is
they
like
didn't-
your pant rubbing on your leg.
Yeah, I heard that too, and I was like, "This is
It's
gonna
all-
be weird."
It was really weird.
I'm sorry.
I'm so glad I could be on the podcast, man. It's not impossible.
Yeah. It's not impossible. Weird.
I just
weird
watched you
sounds.
squat for no reason. Thank you.
Oh, that's
Now you're a
So
CrossFit
we have a
douchebag. You
Skype
weren't
video
before.
chat going, by the way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now you've crossed the line.
How was my squat form, by the way?
I only saw I didn't even see your knee. It
Or
kind of
hear
cuts
it.
off.
That sucks. See, it really is.
How am I supposed to know what your form is like? I don't really want to, honestly. Sorry.
You know
Nothing
what?
personal.
I'll next time I walk up the stairs, I'll use my phone and record my knee sounds, and I'll put it on Twitter. That'll be better.
Does Google have like a translate option?
And I'll do hashtag CrossFit knees or something. Yeah, I need to start it.
You need to just come out.
I'm not.
I'll
You
tweet
already
about
did
it.
that
Okay.
for me.
I'll tweet it for you. Okay.
You want to tweet like, "Can you please join me in supporting Greg? He is
Yeah.
definitely a
CrossFit
CrossFitter
knees.
now."
It's only been what 3 years now.
It'll be 2 years in August.
Okay. Dude, you're really like blowing the lid off this. I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you.
So Midwest Gaming Classic was cool. And then the
So all
following
you did is get a
weekend,
Cuphead record? You went to a game convention and got a record.
dude, I'm not really looking for any games. I don't know.
You
What's
don't have
cool
any
is
games.
I saw a lot of the, like I saw Gar, who was on one of our Arcade Impossible episodes, and he's the one I got the Missile Command cockpit from.
Uh-huh.
And he actually opened up his own arcade in Wisconsin, and it has like 100, I think he's already up to 120 games, which is pretty sick. So I got to get up there sometime, but we were talking about having like a tournament or something like that,
Ooh.
like a weekend arcade tournament.
Are you gonna be like on like the brochure, like a headshot?
Oh
like
man, I
photos
hope so.
by Deb, like challenge Arcade Impossible to Robotron.
Right, or a back squat.
Learn from the pros and listen to his knee sounds.
Oh geez. So so last weekend, or the weekend before actually, Greg from Flux Capacitor Arcade contacted me again, and he's like, well, we had this deal where I was going to trade him my second Robotron machine for this game, and that kind of just fell through, so he sold it to me direct. So I picked up a Joust cocktail machine. You know Joust, right? With the little guy ostriches you fly on.
Yes, I know Joust. Come on, man. You make it like I'm an idiot. No, sorry, I'm not. I mean, I know some things about the video games.
I'm sorry.
Is Joust the one where you're like the puppies?
Puppies? Yeah, that's it.
Okay, yeah. So you ride on like a
sweet
ostrich, maybe?
That's it. So what's
and then
awesome
you have
about
to stab each other. But there's eggs. And then you can get knocked off. And then you die.
So what's awesome about...
If you land on the heads of the enemies, they become... Okay.
Stop it.
Go.
So what's awesome about this cocktail machine is you sit... Like,
you know what a
Asteroids
cocktail machine is, right? Do you know what a cocktail... Okay, I'll stop now.
Like the Asteroids cocktail machine that I have is... you sit across from each other, right? But the Joust one, you sit on the same side of the machine as each other. So it's kind of like you're at an angle, but you're both looking at the monitor the same way, and you set your drink on there. Really cool experience, really cool cabinet. It's in great shape. I guess they only made around 400. I'm not sure how valid that is, but that's what I've heard. So it's rare.
So you didn't get rid of anything, huh?
Put it on my game shelf. Huh?
You didn't get rid of anything.
Actually, I did. I sold my X-Men machine.
Okay.
Which also included Sunset Riders.
Isn't that the one I was there when you bought that, right? It was a...
No, you were there when we got Simpsons on the Gauntlet machine.
But Simpsons was... Oh, a Gauntlet machine. Okay.
So I sold the Simpsons on eBay last week, and I shipped it out today.
So you did sell
how much
one.
You can get for a Simpsons arcade board. Just the board, this big, as big as a shoebox. The Simpsons 4-player game. Guess how much I got on eBay for that?
$20.
I just did a normal auction. Oh my God. What do you really think?
$400.
Man, I got to give you $100 according to Price is Right rules. Exactly $400.
Is it?
Yeah.
Woo! Dude, that was a lucky guess. Because the $25 was or $20 was a joke.
That was a joke. Just want to let you know.
I was joking.
Hey, I don't sound
that's
too
rad.
compressed, do I? Because my waves are like all the same levels. My waveforms.
No,
Okay,
mine
good.
are not at all. So you'll have fun. This is going to sound really weird. You're going to be all compressed, and I'm going to be real dynamic.
Yeah, I got no dynamic range, brah. But
except your knee squat.
I also sold Metroid on for Play Choice 10. I sold it on eBay because I don't.
Anathema.
That's not in my lineup.
No, it's not. I mean, I don't think that's a real good arcade experience, really.
No, stand up and play Metroid, Justin Bailey. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, nah. So my Play Choice 10 lineup is perfect now. 100% perfect.
Okay, go. Do it. Tell me.
Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3. All 3. Perfect. Okay. Punch-Out. Castlevania.
That makes sense.
Contra
makes sense.
Turtles 2, the arcade game.
That makes sense.
In the arcade. As a Nintendo game.
Weird.
That's really meta, too.
Yeah.
There's 2 more I can't remember because of memory.
Excite Bike.
Nope. I used to have Duck Hunt and DuckTales. I got DuckTales in there.
DuckTales?
Amazing. That was never released for the Play Choice 10. I had to modify, burn a ROM chip, and then use a donor cartridge for that. A donor board.
Well, see, I don't I personally don't really understand games that are adventure style being in the arcade.
Wait, are you saying DuckTales is not one you'd put in the arcade?
I mean, DuckTales is great, but
I think it's a quick game though. Like you can beat that game.
Well,
pretty
5
quick.
levels.
Yeah.
I mean,
the
you
Moon
can.
theme, you can just let that play.
You just go to that level and sit there.
Well, I do that, and then I just remembered another one. Mega Man 3's in there, which
Okay.
Mega Man has beat
Yeah.
Mega Man 3 maybe 15 times on that.
Yeah,
We
on
lost
that?
count now. Yes,
On that one?
He usually
Oh,
skips
wow.
to the end, but he's played all the way through several times.
Poor
At least
guy,
2 or 3.
when he was on the show, you put him on the spot, and he froze up and couldn't remember these things that he knows like the back of his hand and the inside of his hand.
What
This
show
dude- yeah.
are you talking about?
Your podcast. When Mega Matt was on.
Wait. Oh, that's right. You heard it. So you heard episode 1. That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot. I sent you the draft of the first.
Are these up
podcast.
now?
No. So now that I came up with a name, I decided I'm going to contact one of my best friends who's an artist and have him, pay him to design a logo because he did the original Arcade Impossible logo.
Which is
And
great.
I feel it's kind of fitting that he does the logo for the Not Impossible one. Do you have any ideas for that besides maybe similar font and style, but not the same? I don't know. I don't even know what to tell him. Like,
Well,
what I want
mean,
out of this.
even though this podcast has a lot of range, I think it would be good to have a few symbols of some of the key things that you're likely to talk about.
Yeah, but what are they? Should I put like a bicep?
Well, now you should. I think you should have it all coming out of a call-out speech bubble from your knee. No, I don't know. Like, some of the things you're into.
Well, so
I don't.
some of the projects that are going to be on the YouTube page, and I think the new YouTube page, Not Impossible, is also going to be directly. It's basically the same as the podcast, right? It's the same thing. It's just everything I'm interested in doing. That's
Right.
what the current focus is, right?
Yeah.
So what's coming up soon is my Jeep, my
I was gonna
2000
say.
Jeep TJ.
I was gonna say to have a Jeep in there would be cool.
Have a Jeep in there, right?
Yeah,
The other
something
thing's
all rugged, like it's
3D,
going
a
over
3D
something.
printer because Mike got a 3D printer, and then
The
mine's
only
gonna
problem
be
with having
Yeah.
that in there is that the image of a 3D printer, like if you said, if you went up to a random person, what does a 3D printer look like? There's
Yeah.
not like an iconic image.
yeah.
Like an arcade, like the control stick with buttons, something like that makes sense. People know what that is. They recognize it. Or
So maybe like a joystick, a Jeep,
all these J's.
I don't know, maybe something that kind of encapsulates
some kind of tools,
all of
like
these
some
as like
tools.
hobbies and interests. Some kind of like subheading that has a container that flows down, and then all these little like sub things can be in there, like Jeep, 3D printing.
Well, I
I don't know.
always
That's
think
too
that
much
it would
for
be
a
cool.
thumbnail for a podcast, though.
Oh, well, I'm not saying like
What?
all like 1,000 things. I'm just talking about kind of like you have the
No.
words in the middle and just a couple of things, elements kind of in the background associated right kind of around it. Like in Arcade Impossible, you have you and the co-host, whoever that may be.
Yep.
There's just 2 elements. Just having an extra element.
Mhm.
That's my thought.
It's just a hard. It's either just go minimal and just have what is it called? Not impossible. Oh my god, I forgot the name. Not Impossible podcast.
It's
right?
going to be interesting because it's like the 8th episode or whatever, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Is this number 8? So when number 8 comes out, it's
I
going to be.
think this is 6 or 7.
You'll be talking about the name of it.
Dude, this is the super meta episode.
It is very meta. Oh,
like
that's
it.
the episode where I came up with like the logo.
The logo that's
episode,
there for-
episode 7.
because this is going to be released monthly, right? So this is going to be
Holy moly!
almost weekly. So almost 2 months after the episode's being released every week, we're going to have an episode talking about the name of the podcast and the logo.
Yes.
in CrossFit.
Well, it'll be interesting because they will have already seen what the logo looks like and then see if anything we said has anything to do with it. Probably
I'm just glad
not.
that right now I have at least 2 months before everyone knows about CrossFit. So that's good. I can tell my parents.
Oh, no, you have at least 2 minutes. I'm doing it. I feel like you need to get it out there before so that people aren't shocked. Next thing I know, you're going to talk about how you're doing keto.
I'm not doing that.
No, I know.
Anymore. All right. So we talked about Joust. What else have you been up to? Are you working on a new video? I want to turn it back to you now.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you.
Enough about me. Let's talk about you.
Yeah, so like I already have I have one episode done, another episode, but that's not even going to come out next. And I'm working on Nintendo Power stuff.
Are you still doing that one thing? I can't even.
The retro stuff?
No. It's kind of a secret. Let me text it to you. I can't. Anyway, keep going. I'm sorry.
That one thing?
Yeah.
Probably.
I'm texting you right now. It's kind of weird to talk to you and see you, and I have to text you.
Oh, yeah.
That is still going on?
Yeah, I'm doing that one thing. Yeah, there's something.
You're never going to mention that, right?
No, no, I'm just going to say right now, like, there's something in my, like, with all the videos that I've done, something I'm really looking forward to in the future, and it's all kind of building up toward it. So I actually mentioned this. This is funny. I was on that All Gen Gamers podcast like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and I mentioned this then. So it'll be interesting when it actually happens. I want to track down that episode way back then and like prove I've been talking and thinking about this neat idea for a long time.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm working stuff in it. But you know, the Nintendo Power stuff, that's a series. It's funny. I have not made an episode since February of 2013. Wow. So this episode starts off, I'm going to put it up this Saturday, but it starts off with a clip from that. Like, you know, stay tuned for the next issue. Like it says stay tuned. And then it's like 5 years later and I look so different. I sound so different. You know, I got like gray hair in my beard now. It's like, it's such a joke 5 years later. Oh, man. But, you know, it's fun coming back to it now because in the past 5 years, I've learned a lot about editing. So
yeah, man, you're really good at editing.
Thank you. So the stuff I'm trying to do in here, I'm just trying to take it to another level. The only problem with that is it also makes it take more time. So I got to find some sort of other kind of video that I really like and I'm proud to do, but doesn't take 20 hours to make.
You'd say that only took you 20 hours?
The Zelda one?
Yeah.
No, that took like over 100 hours.
I was going to say,
joke.
If you did that in 20 hours, that's ridiculous. I remember my first episode of Arcade Impossible was like 60 hours because I didn't know how to edit. And I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah. People have no idea until they've tried to do it, really, how much work is in it. Mm-hmm. Just the script, I wrote it and I sat on it for a while, not literally, that's weird, but I just let some time pass and revisited it so I could refine it, and I didn't want to even start doing any of the other bits until I knew I liked the script. So that alone took a long time. I worked on that over the period of a month. And then to get the footage, I had to play through the game 2 times because there's certain things I wanted to show from the Japanese release. So I had to play through to a certain point until I got the hook shot, which is about halfway through. So, yeah, it was a lot. What were you going to say?
Would it be weird or inappropriate to make this the first episode?
No.
Because I feel like I kind of...
Just weird.
I'm kind of getting the flow better. The other ones are fine, and some of them are just very specific to Rockford because I had one of my local friends, another Mike, not the Mike you know from Arcade Impossible, on, and we talked about a lot of cool like life and space and that kind of stuff, and the universe and physics.
Yeah.
But we also talked about very specific Rockford, Illinois things. So I think what I'm going to do for this podcast, being meta again, is at the beginning of each episode, just kind of say, hey, and whatever the date is, and in this episode we talk about this, this, and this. I can say a little thing about news or what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, let's get into it, and a little music buffer, and we're into it.
I don't think it matters your order, dude.
Well, no, I'm saying, yeah, that's fine. But do you like the little intro?
Oh yeah,
kind of.
Well,
because then people, if they know the subject, they can scrub through if they don't want to hear certain sections, right?
No, right. Yeah, that's one of the things that I always appreciated about. It's kind of silly, but Lemony Snicket, you know, those series of unfortunate events books.
Oh, okay.
My kids used to read those, and the back of the book always told kids the reasons they don't want to read it. Like, if you don't like this, then you don't want to read this. It was all like, it was kind of funny, but it took these actual moments from the book and it highlighted them in a way that made you want to read it.
Oh, nice.
By telling you not to. And so I've always been a strong proponent. I do it in the Nintendo Power things. I like to mention a few of the little things that are in there right up front so that people kind of know what they're looking forward to.
Right. So like the very Rockford specific one, I'll be like, hey, I had Mike on, and like it'll kind of be like for how many co-hosts I'll have on this podcast, it'll kind of be nice because like, well, I have this person on again, and we talked about this. If you're not interested in anything specific about Rockford, Illinois, just skip to 25 minutes. Otherwise,
yeah, but you know what? Even that though, like, you know, when people listen to something, when they listen to a podcast, when I do, I like to kind of get to know the person or the people on the show. Like, getting to know what goes on in their life and where they're from is a big deal to me.
So just, okay.
I'll just roll with it.
Yeah, because I guess that's true. I never really scrub through podcasts unless I'm bored of a subject, and I'll just scrub through a bit. But otherwise, I guess I wouldn't care if they said what's... It's kind of nice not knowing where it goes, too, especially with a random podcast like this.
Yeah. It's great. Just kidding. I'm such a jerk. Well, I mean, you know, you and I are such good friends, and we talk all the time, so it's like, it's hard not to just goof around with you and play like we always do. But
it was cool to have you on the one time, too.
It's not impossible.
No, man, you're gonna be a regular. We got to do this a lot.
Yeah, I want to.
And I love the format of not editing, right? Do some basic audio editing, do the bumper.
Definitely.
And, that segues into what I want to talk about, which is what the last episode was about. How I'm into music production right now, like making my own music. Did I talk to you about this at all?
You have talked to me about making stuff, but
you don't know the current status where I'm at with it. So, I'm really into gear and stuff like that, and getting like all set up for new interests. You know, we've talked about this quite a bit.
Yeah.
You get into something new, and it's like, oh, let me research everything. What's the most cost-effective setup for me to get? What's the best payoff? So obviously in music production, there's tons of ways to go, but at the core, right, you need your DAW, your audio software, right, so you can work with the audio. And I started out a year or two ago using Fruity Loops. Have you heard of Fruity Loops?
Yeah,
it's been around for a really long time. I've tried to use it. It's okay. It works for some people, but it's not for me. And I did a lot of research, and then eventually I came to get Ableton. You know Ableton Live?
I don't know Ableton.
So that's a pretty well known one. A lot of like famous people use it. I think like deadmau5 uses it, and like these other electronic music producers. But it's I watched videos on it, and like with anything now, right? You do YouTube research and everything else. But I was watching people use it, and it was really intuitive, really kind of minimalist interface, really intuitive. The core concepts are there. So I invested in, and I bought that software, and it has this really cool, you'll have to look it up another time, but it's the Ableton Push 2, which is like the MIDI interface, the MIDI controller. Because I already had a MIDI keyboard, but this Push 2 looks like a 14 by 14 inch square box, inch high, that you put on your desk, and it has 64 pads and they're all red, RGB LEDs behind them, and they light up. And then it has a legit, like this big, 6-inch by an inch high LCD screen in it. And it fully integrates into Ableton. So I can fire that up and then just do all the producing on this little controller and the screen. And you can just kind of get your ideas out really quick. You don't even need to look at the computer at all.
Weird. Wow.
So you can fire up your drum sequencer. You can have like 16 different drum sounds, and you can just play live. And then you hit record, and you can play live and set how many, if you want a 1 bar or 8 bar loop. And you can just keep layering on, and then stop recording, switch to another track, keep add a bass in. Okay, switch to another track. Now bring up synthesizers or wavetable synthesizers. It's really cool.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's changed a lot.
Yeah.
When I used to do music, I was using some old, Pro Tools and Cakewalk and...
Oh, yeah, Pro Tools is still a big deal.
Yeah, but I was using old versions of these things.
Right.
There was another program called Pro 4, and I used to program music all the time. I was big into synth and stuff, too. So I would program, but it was different, I wouldn't have to actually play it on a keyboard. I could, but I didn't have to. I could just kind of input where the notes were going to be. Yeah, and then just copy and paste and layer tracks that way. But wow, that's
pretty
funny
sweet,
that you're all into that. You'll have to make the intro song for your Not Impossible show. Are you ready for that reveal?
People that are listening already know that because even the first episode is a song I made for the bumper. Just a beat. So it'll be a different beat that I'm making for every single episode as the intro bumper.
Wow. Yeah. Wait, why would you do that? A different beat?
Eventually I'll come to one that I like and want to use that's familiar. But
yeah, because that's the thing. I'm
doing 2 to 3 a day right now. Just kind of, they're more minimalist. They're not beats with a background melody or bass. So it's
but I'm just saying, in terms of having a show, having some kind of I love that sound. Here it comes.
Right. So when I get there and it's better sounding, then I'll settle on one. But for hopefully less than the first 20 episodes, we'll finally settle on one that we like.
Don't settle, man. Don't settle. Don't you dare settle.
I'll decide on one I like.
You need to love it.
So it's cool about playing on the Ableton, the Push 2, right? So I'm doing a drum sequencing live. It has a quantize function, so I can have them auto quantize to the beat while I'm playing or after. I can just hit it and it syncs everything up. So it's kind of awesome. So this is what people use
unless you're even a little bit closer to the other beat and then it quantizes wrong.
No, Colonel Sanders, you're wrong. Mama's right.
Yeah, well, that's what always happened when I tried to quantize.
Did you even know the quote I just did? Or no?
No.
Oh, it's Waterboy. Remember Waterboy? We were quoting that a lot at work lately. So
I don't know that one.
But the look on Adam Sandler's face when the teacher who looks like Colonel Sanders is like, "Mama's wrong again," and he's talking crap about Adam Sandler's mom. He just sits there, "No, Colonel Sanders, you're wrong."
You sound like him right there. Colonel Sandler.
Colonel Sandler's. So yeah, that's the music production thing I got.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we talked about this last episode, but I'm doing 1 to 3 actually different ideas a day, whether it's a melody with a bass line or drum. The stuff I'm doing beat wise, as far as the drum kits, it's 4 to the floor, like just beat, snare, beat, clap, whatever to start, because I'm really focusing on just getting the proper structure of the bass and melodies that I want, and then I'll focus more on the percussion part of it. But
have you ever heard music I made? Have I ever played music I wrote?
You played a little for me. Wasn't it more like
Did I?
Depeche Mode inspired? And I
But
think you did.
I played like my synth type stuff.
I don't know. I
don't
asked
even
for
know
it,
where
like,
it is.
5 years ago for you to...
I didn't know you 5 years. Okay, yes,
Yes,
I
you
did.
did.
I just barely knew you. Okay,
No,
sorry.
I asked for it a long time ago, so if you can find it, I definitely want to hear it. But what I'm doing is, even from the very first project in Ableton that I started, even if it's just a melody, right, and that's it, it's a 2-bar, 4-bar melody, and then I don't like it and I abandon and go to something else. So that's Greg. I put the date 1, and then I save every one that same way. So right now I'm on number 16 or 17, and I've saved every single one. So the idea is I can track my progression along every single thing I've made
really
until
cool.
I actually find something or come across and make something that I really like. And from the day 1 and 2 things, and I've only been doing this for a week and a half now, so the day 1 and 2 things are very different already from the stuff I've did like yesterday or the day before. And yesterday I was doing some stuff with like a cello and some background piano stuff, and I did some like chill out track that actually was starting to like a bit. I mean, I still want to change up some stuff, more like soundscapey, chill out, ambient, but then some cello and like weird synths in the background. It was kind of cool. But yeah, it's really
that's
fun
awesome.
and
Yeah, I knew you were getting
right?
into that, but I didn't know you were where you were at. I didn't know what you were doing. That's pretty cool.
This goes back to, when I was a kid, I did want to try to make electronic music. I think it started when I was like 12 years old. It's just like, man, I wish I could do it. I remember hanging out with a friend in high school, and we used acid music trying to make stuff. And I just always thought that I'm never going to be good at this. Like, I just don't have it. I'm not a musical person, even though I like did trombone lessons, but I just didn't have the confidence in it at all, right? And now that I know it's more a discipline thing, right? You stick with it long enough, you can learn it. If you're gonna spend, like those people that, what's the one guy? He didn't even golf, and then he quit his job because he wanted to be a pro golfer, and because he knew all he did to do was spend 10,000 hours doing it. Is it 10,000 to be an expert?
The 10,000 hour rule, yeah.
Yeah, and then he was like legit now, and he wasn't a golfer before. He's like, well, it's technique, and I'll just study it. I thought that's awesome. So if you apply
there's some really cool podcasts about that topic.
Mm-hmm.
The 10,000 hour rule versus the, like, I forget the name of it, something practice, like directed practice or focused practice, something like that. Just about people that have taken some kind of skill and just worked it to death. Like one of the best free throw shooters in the world ever. He's like some 50-year-old man in the middle in mid-America, some like old dude that you would never know, but he pretty much just doesn't miss because that's all he does. He has gone out and shot free throws. There's some other guy who can skip stones like 30 times like before it goes in, or whatever it is. It's like the record's crazy, like 65 times before it goes down. You're like, that's impossible, but nope, someone practiced it way too much.
That's awesome.
But then there's a cool book too about how you can become mildly proficient at something in way less time than that, in like 20 hours.
That's one of my favorite YouTube channels to watch now is Mike Boyd, and he learns stuff. So he's like, how long does it take me to accomplish something to show that I'm proficient in doing this?
Yeah.
Have you seen that at all?
I don't know if it's him, but I've seen things along those lines.
His channel's awesome. He's got he's like, I think over 1 million now, but he's...
Well, it's really inspiring to realize that if you have never touched a guitar before, in 20 hours of work, you would be able to get by, basically.
Yep.
A language. If you, for 20 hours, focused on the things that are most necessary, you'd be able to be at a restaurant and communicate okay. It's nothing fluent. I mean, you're not going to be fluent with guitar or fluent with a language, but you could get by. It's got to be very targeted what you practice. And it has to be legit 20 hours, not while the office is on in the background.
Right. And you need to
focused.
segment up your progress, right? And then makes it not so daunting. And I think that really helps with the way I'm saving each music idea as an incrementing number. Because all I have to do is one number for the day, maybe 2 numbers for the day. I don't have to make something that I think is, I love this song I made, It doesn't have to be that. It can just be an idea or 2. And if I stick with it, not if, I am going to stick with it. So we were doing guesses on the last episode of what revision number is going to be the idea that spawns and grows into a fully structured song that I like. It doesn't have to be great, but it'll be the first thing that I actually like and it's completed. Yeah. So my guess was like 56.
How long does it usually take for you to make one?
Like make one before I abandon it?
One of like each entry. About how long when you start to when you decide to save that and call it an entry.
It's never less than 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes to 45 minutes to 2.5 hours.
Oh, okay. So up to 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
So my guess is like about 9,000 revisions.
Okay.
Just kidding. No, I'm kidding. The 10,000 hour rule.
10,000 hour. Yeah, I know. I know what you're doing.
I mean, by the time you get to 9,000, dude, it's going to be huge.
Oh, man. So good.
What number are you on?
17.
Oh, okay. Well, don't give up.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be much sooner than that. I mean, I think around 50 sounds about right to me.
Mm-hmm. And there's something about...
have you found yourself analyzing other music?
Yes. Yeah.
All the time. Like the thing
I wrote down the core things that I like. Sorry, I wrote down the core things that I like about the songs that I really like.
If you want to accelerate it, I really recommend that you actually get the components of something that you like.
Yep.
And then program it. A lot of times these books use the Beatles as an example. Like they're often an example of becoming a master because they're largely considered, whether you like them or not, they're largely considered one of the most influential bands ever. And if you look at their progress, they sucked when they left England and they went to Germany and they played in a club there. They played for many hours every night together as a band, and by the time they were done, they had played together for something like 500 hours or something.
Yeah.
Playing live for 500 hours. When they came back, people didn't even know it was the same band. They could not believe how much better they had become. But the songs they were playing were covers of hits. They didn't play their own stuff at that point. They had practiced and refined other people's music. They analyzed it and broke it down, and they were hits. Everything they were playing was already successful. And so if you're playing successful things and you're letting that guide you, that's going to rub off on you. And it doesn't have to be considered like derivative or, anyone who would try to say that that's cheap, well, I think they're just being kind of, like you've got to learn from your inspirations. That's everything. Well, no one is completely original.
No, and I firmly believe like most music that's out there, right, is just all of your influence of music you like, and it's kind of mixed together. You can't avoid it. Yeah. But I really think I wrote down for you, man, that would accelerate like any progress you're trying to do. So take one of my favorite songs that I like, right, and just try to program that song, the melody, the bass, the drums, and just remake it myself.
See how it works together. Yeah, so I did that with a lot of Depeche Mode music, and there was a couple other synth bands, kind of a local band, Anything Box, that I really liked. But I took their stuff and I reprogrammed it. I listened to the bass lines, and I listened to the melodies and the string parts, and I figured them out. Now I'm sure you could just find a lot of that, find it online. But to program it, to get a feel for how each track affects it. And then when you got it and you're looking at it in a computer and you're isolating certain tracks and just listening and understanding how they combine and how they complement each other, it's very enlightening.
Yeah, and what's interesting about, I guess it's the same way with anything where you don't have a finished product, is when you're making music, right, it's not mastered by any means. It's so raw. Like you're making melodies and bass that doesn't have any EQ or reverb or compression or any of that. So it's super raw, and you have to kind of envision what it would sound like or what you want it to sound like, right? And it's really easy to get discouraged of, well, this sounds like crap, you know? And you have to just envision. And I guess that's a really good practice to what you said, right? It's just, if I try to make one that sounds like one of my favorite songs, like is my favorite song, and I reprogram it, it's going to sound like crap from the start. And then I can kind of just see how it transitions into being.
Well, it's interesting because you probably won't have the exact same voices, sounds, you know?
No, not at all. But it's going to be a weird, like, remix.
But you'll find, you'll be looking for the ones that are close enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be surprised at how good it does sound, actually.
Right.
Like, I was never, I know that they didn't sound as good because they didn't have the studio behind it. But a lot of times I was like, I was actually proud of recreating it. But I know it translated into making my own music.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you said that.
And there's no question with editing, too, like editing videos.
Mm-hmm.
Before I ever started YouTube even, I watched videos and I'm like, I analyzed what is it that I like? What are the kind of cuts? So I started doing things I didn't even know the name for them, like the technical name, like J cuts and L cuts. I didn't know what it meant at the time, but I knew that I see people do it and I liked how it worked. It ties it together. And so I just tried to replicate it. I always thought if I ever taught video production, because I almost got that opportunity at school, but that's what I would do is I would ask them to recreate a scene from a movie. You have to shot for shot recreate it. And you learn why people do things the way they do them when you do that.
Dude, that's great. I'm going to start with a less complex one of my favorite songs.
NESComplex? What?
So like the first song I was thinking about has female vocals, and it's very melodic, and there's a lot of like opposing melodies, and it's crazy. But I'll just take one of my more techno-ish songs that I really like.
Techno often is more, I like you can identify the parts.
Yeah. I mean, I can identify all the parts. I have them in my head of that one I'm talking about. Okay. But there's so many elements that maybe it'll be a good practice later, but I think I need to start with just core, more techno-y kind of stuff. And make
it doesn't matter where you start. I can't see how it would hurt.
Yeah, I'm going to dedicate number 19 or 20 to that. So that's good.
Right on.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. 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 So what else is going on with you?
Honestly, I mean, right now that's been the focus. I just diving back into YouTube and trying to I hadn't made a video in a year and a half, and I was really a little bit concerned that like what would that be like just coming back? Would anyone see it? Would anyone care? But it's been pretty encouraging. It's doing really well, and I'm looking forward to what happens when I put out these new types. Like I have a series I want to do about retro everything, toys and like, you know, weird little things that everyone from my generation knows, choose your own adventure books and that sort of thing. But I want to do it kind of in a style like that Netflix series, The Toys That Made Us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be different and it won't be as editing intensive.
Right.
So those are the big things. I mean, I'm really just focused on that because it just takes so much time to edit.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of hours you have into editing is pretty impressive because you've put out a lot of videos. All those Is It Funs and Time Machines and all that stuff. Like, that's a ton of stuff. Like, there's a lot of videos.
How many hours it is.
Like, when
I actually only have about 50 videos up. Like, I have a lot that I've hidden over time.
That's a lot, dude.
But, you know, not compared to a lot of people out there. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people with 1,000 videos. And
26 episodes up, full episodes now. And I stopped editing them around episode 14.
Oh, wow.
So 15 through 26 are not edited by me. They're edited by David, which he does an amazing job.
Point.
Yeah,
he does.
He kind of maintains the spirit of it, and he he does his own flair. He's great. I mean, I'm so happy that he did that because it'd just be dead otherwise, right? And
Did people know?
I don't think people
Did you
noticed.
ever? Yeah, wow, that's cool. So
he's done
he
a
tried to
shout-out
copy
thing
your
to-
style to some degree,
Yeah.
and then add his own.
He tried directly to copy. You can see a little bit like episodes 16 through 18 or 15 through 18 are a little bit. You can tell. I can tell they're different, right? But they're not that different because he would send me a draft. I'd review it, and then I'd
wow.
say, well, it'd be really funny if you dropped in Robot Ron here, or if you did this. So I would give in like what I would have added if I was editing those stupid, funny little things, and then he did those. But now it's to the point where I watch him and I'm like, this is awesome, and he's like, okay, I'll upload it to the.
So you don't even need to give input.
Yeah, I think of the last 3, I've maybe gave 1 or 2 things to change, and that's it.
Yeah, he has done a lot of editing. So I
Lots.
mean, he's become quite skilled. He was already skilled when he, but
Oh yeah, he's already
it's
a very
amazing.
impressive editor. And the fact that he can copy it like that, it's just
Wow.
pretty awesome. And yeah, you don't really lose the editing thing, right? Like if anything,
Well,
I feel more focused now than I used to be, you know, with, I just feel more focused. And when I got home and I edited that one episode, like not even like a super rough cut, like a pretty tight edit until the very last 4 minutes, which is kind of like a lot of walking and going into the gas station, doing all this stuff. But all of it was like final cut until that point, from the intro to there. And I did that in like an hour and a half, which I thought that was kind of crazy.
that is crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot. I don't know, man. I don't know how.
The thing is, like, just with the Not Impossible podcast thing, right, is I have so many interests. So that saying of like, master, jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. Like, I feel like I love getting into all these things and I have a wide knowledge with all these things. But mastery or even just staying active in something is my problem, right? I don't stay in one area long enough to like really just start knocking stuff out. Like if I didn't have all these other things and I was a more focused person and that was just fine as like my main hobby, that would be fine. And I did that for a year and a half of just editing and trying to do every month, but roughly doing that, you know. But I don't know, that seems boring to me. I guess it doesn't fit my personality to stay with it for that long because it took so much time. I couldn't focus either, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, the thing that I always thought was cool about your show, how it was different, is that even if nobody watched it, you're documenting your life. You're documenting things that are happening.
Right.
That's not a lot of shows. A lot of shows they're putting stuff out there, but it's not
what's
like
the intent
going to
behind
be
it?
meaningful, personally meaningful later. Like these episodes are things you'll show your kids. And
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Like, and I'm glad I made them PG, like no swearing and stuff. But
yeah. Well, and that's a big thing, that a choice that I made. Like, I don't want to have anything in there that, like, I want my kids to be able to see it. I want my students to be able to see it. And
Right.
I wanted also to know that you can make something that's wholesome and that anyone can watch and that people will still appreciate.
Right. And I have, that was like a big part of the Arcade Impossible thing is like, well, I just want to learn video editing. I've always wanted to learn video editing. That was another thing. Right.
Right.
And I've done like little movie projects as a teenager and whatever else and a kid. But this was like my full, like I got the Premiere subscription. I did the study course and I was like YouTube videos, like, you know, when you learn anything. And I learned how to edit. My first episode had green screens and stuff in it and like doing all the freaking keyframes and just learning all this stuff.
That was crazy.
And it was really fun to learn all that. It's just, I completely lost my point with it. But yeah, no, I got it. So really, I was making that as like, if I just didn't release it, right? It's just like, these are memories of things I'm going to do. And it's the same thing even before Arcade Impossible started becoming a thing and being released. As I made a video about when I went to Japan, and that's never been released anywhere. That was the same kind of editing, and that was just for me, you know. So I think it's important to do that stuff and have that intent behind it, right?
For sure.
I think I just rambled a little bit.
No.
Stop it.
No, you didn't.
So you want
My computer is dying.
Yep.
I'm not by a plug.
Chris texted me that his computer's at 5%. What's it at now? Let's get
4
live updates.
Yeah, but also I have to save this Audacity file.
So let's, dude, thanks. I'm going to have you on in like another week. Let's just get a bunch of these queued up and ready to go. So,
yeah, let's do it.
And check Chris out. Twitter, NESComplex. YouTube, NESComplex. Anything else?
Nope.
Sweet.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, dude. Anytime. Later.
Bye.
Bye.